Happy anniversary, everybody, and welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant. You can call him Chip, and today we are talking about episodes 33 through 35 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. And yes, this is the first episode of our third year.
Crazy.
Just a few days ago, back on March 1st, was the anniversary of our very first episode going up. Fancy lads being extra.
I mean, as we're recording this, at least, part 9 of JoJo has just begun.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of JoJo happening.
Lots of happenings. Lots of occurrences.
Yeah, and we're getting real close here to wrapping up Stone Ocean too,
which has its own occurrences.
Oh
to be
yeah,
sure.
a lot of occurrences for sure.
Things are happening.
Yeah.
In episode 33, Gravity of the New Moon.
So we start off with a brief recap of what happened at the very end of the previous episode, with Weather Report dying, getting his stand on a disc.
And Jolene just saying, I want to speak with you just once more. Oh, heartbreaking. So sad.
That recap blends into the beginning of the episode here, where everyone's in a car driving towards Cape Canaveral, and who is driving? Oh my god, Emporio is driving. He is... Later on, you're going to see that he's got like a little brick or something tied to the accelerator because his little leggies can't reach unless he's got that brick there.
Also, we are informed that it is March 21st, 2012 at 10:35 a.m. Mm-hmm. Which means those guards betting on baseball back in the maximum security disciplinary unit, they were betting on spring training? What? No, fuck that. Nobody no. Useless, meaningless.
Yeah.
But this also means we are 2 days after the death of comics legend Mobius, and 1 day before the death of the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, wow.
Yes, when they would announce that it was no longer going to be in publication.
I feel like Anasui might mourn that. I don't know. It seems like he read that a lot. So he could dump these useless facts on everybody. But as they're all driving towards Cape Canaveral, Jolene is just thinking over things to herself. Mourning the loss of Weather Report. She's got his stand disc in her hand still.
I like the big billboard they drive past that just says, "Look up, come face to face with space."
Yes. She's wondering, hey, if I pop your stand disc in my head, would I be able to use your stand correct? Would I actually be able to feel its powers and all this? We learned that, yes, they were able to deliver Jotaro's memory disc to the Speedwagon Foundation, so he's going to be waking back up soon.
But how soon? And what do we do? She trusts that Jotaro will know what to do. But she doesn't know what to do right now. Should I wait for him? Should I just barrel on ahead? What should I do? Please, Dad, tell me. Oh. As she thinks to herself, as she rests her head on Anasui's chest, and he's like, huh?
Yeah. Which leads into the OP. And then after that, everybody, or rather Anasui, is just, whispering out loud, wow, she's really cute. I like it when she sleeps on my chest like this.
You're talking out loud, dude. People can hear you. What are you doing? You've got this whole mystique and you're ruining it. You're ruining the aura. Come on.
Yeah. And so he starts digging around in his pockets. And by pockets, I mean inside one of the little shoe soles he has glued to his body.
That's what they're for.
That's what they're for. And he's like, okay. This is maybe my only chance to do this. When I was in prison, I saved up a bunch of money so that I could buy a jewel-encrusted ring to give to whoever steals my heart. And so he pulls this ring out and slips it on Jolene's finger.
I figure this is what he was doing instead of helping during Jailhouse Lock.
Yeah.
He's just arranging delivery.
Yep. And so he slips this ring on. It's just when she wakes up, all I want from her is to ask if, she truly feels the same way I do. And meanwhile, at the same time he puts this ring on, Hermes goes whoa, look, all these fucking alligators are out here too. Fucking alligators. I hate them so much. And then Jolene wakes up because she's shouting a whole bunch and goes, whoa, look at that one. It's fucking big. Fuck you, alligator. And she throws something at the alligators like, yeah, I got him. And Hermes is psyched too. And yes, she just threw whatever was in her hand, which was the ring. And
we hate alligators. We hate federal wildlife protection. We just fuck them all.
Yeah, and as they're having some rowdy teenage fun, Anasui grabs Jolene by the wrist and just like, what the fuck did you throw? What did you throw?
Jolene never has been happier in her life than hitting this alligator in the eyeball with her engagement ring.
Yeah. And like,
that's the biggest smile I've ever seen.
Yeah. And like Anasui has like big time tears streaming down his face.
And everybody just gets kind of uncomfortable. Like, dude, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
It's just alligators. God.
So after that whimsy, Emporio asks Hermes like, hey, I want to look up a map of the area and stuff. So like, here, can you hold this for a second? And Hermes is just like, okay, yeah, watch. She opens just, one palm, because it looks like Emporio's about to hand her something tiny, and his entire computer falls out of his palm into her hand, and just onto her.
This one is very silly, and then it's not. So yes, Hermes is trying to balance a whole big chunky ass desktop computer to bring up MapQuest while they're driving. Cool. And like, Anasui, why aren't you freaking out right now? You are driving right past Port Canaveral, where the Disney Cruise Line disembarks.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's your dream.
It wouldn't work because they would be escorted out of Disney World by security. I would just want to see an Anasui cosplayer in Disney World, like, freaking the fuck out.
You go to like the big roadside sign that's like 4 miles from any actual park.
Now this shit is Disney.
So Emporio, while driving, is bringing up some digital maps and explaining their whole itinerary like the perfect road trip dad. He's getting everybody on the same page.
Yep.
And like the importance of the visitor center and how it is where, the public goes and everything. So naturally, that's going to be where that's going to be where Poochie is too. That's where we're going to find him because he follows the rules.
Absolutely.
In fact, Emporio guesses that, he's probably going to like check into the visitor center, get past security and just chill out there in that complex of buildings and museum exhibits for 2 days.
Yeah.
Just eating hot dogs and shit.
There's multiple exhibits that you must be able to like crawl into and sleep in, right?
My new sequel to Evening Primrose is really weird, but very STEM focused at the same time.
So yes, while Emporio's theorizing that Poochie is going to go in there like a normal man and then hide somewhere, we see Father Poochie in line.
Doing exactly that. Yes, he's exactly in line for bag check.
Yeah, he's there, but also he's feeling miserable. He's breathing heavily. He's sweating real bad. He feels like shit.
He's got stand indigestion in a very bad way.
Yeah, he's still pretty far back in line, and they like start moving some people forward, and they're gonna like put the little velvet rope, the little like stanchion back in, like, okay, that's the last person we can let in for this group or whatever. And some random stranger who's being very nice is just like, oh no, this is
very chatty, friendly, the nerdiest looking man I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. And he's just like, he sees this guy who he immediately identifies as like a priest. And he's just like, oh, no, this guy's my friend. Can he come in too? It's like, okay, one more can come in. And
he just doesn't
excited.
Shut up for a while.
He's very excited.
He's very excited. Just like, I every day I try to do a good turn daily. He was a very good Cub Scout, I guess. And he's like, wow, you're a priest coming to the big science place? Wow, you don't expect that. Somehow blissfully unaware of the many how many of history's great astronomers were priests, including in contemporary times, like George Lemaitre, the first to theorize an expanding universe from expansion of a singularity.
Cool.
Long before we even had the term Big Bang Theory.
That's cool.
Or the sitcom, for that matter. Yeah, a priest did Hubble stuff before Hubble did. How about that?
Yeah.
And then this guy jokes, hey, maybe God's just an alien. Who knows? Just kidding, just kidding. Yeah. Poochie fucking hates this dude so much.
He's so sick of his shit, but also
so angry.
He's so tired and miserable feeling right now that he can't really do anything about it, so he's just being super pissed off.
And you notice the signage around here, they are pretty wary of IP, because instead of NASA...
Yeah.
This place is run by a body just called Earth.
Ah, yes, Earth.
With a similar yet distinct logo.
Yeah.
And as you would expect in this sort of edutainment tourist exhibit, there is an educational video looping. And as you also might expect, the narrator is the narrator. He's talking about the unpredictability of gravity. You know how unpredictable gravity is. Sometimes it's 9.8, sometimes it's 14, you know?
There's just no way to fit it into some sort of mathematical equation to predict how it may play out.
And he talks about how, the reason we do our launches here is because it's near the equator, and the centrifugal force of the Earth just already throwing you out there, and that's not it. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's about the speed boost for lateral speed already built in, but whatever. Other things this guy says, typically sea level is marked 0 meters above sea level. Yeah? Yes, actually.
What? Typically.
And he also says that across the Earth's surface, gravity varies slightly from place to place, and in Florida, it's one of the lowest spots of gravity on the Earth. This is half true. So I looked up a map published by the National Science Foundation for where gravity on the surface of the Earth is greater or less than average. Florida, pretty much dead average, right in the center.
All right.
If you want to take advantage of that, you want to build an offshore launch platform south of India and Sri Lanka.
Well, he tried.
And this is when Poochie's face starts to look like the San Andreas Fault. He's so fucked up.
Yeah, he's in a bad way. And his eyes are all bloodshot. His eye gets real fucked up and starts to warp and bend and collapse onto itself, and his pupil starts to split in two. And this is when a guy nearby who has is holding a soda, his soda just starts floating out of his cup and just straight across, parallel to the ground.
And that's why you get a lid, dude. Come on.
Yeah, why do you have a big gulp cup without a lid? What are you, fucking monster? And
it starts streaking horizontally against big old Nerdo's face.
There's a beat, and then the nerdy man just goes flying straight across the floor and gets impaled on a railing, and he's dead. And
he's a big bloody mess.
No one in the line seems to hear the guy go, "Ah!" and then me impaling sounds, but the man with the soda does go, "Huh? Where'd my drink go?"
Priorities, man, priorities.
Where's my soda?
So now we've already hit the mid-episode title card, and this time it is Diver Down, but in green.
Oh.
So back on the road to Cape Canaveral. Jolene's looking out the window, and she sees all the little furry critters of the forest running alongside. And Emporio just calls to the back seat, hey, what's the game plan? Are we going on the offensive? Are we waiting for backup? What's the deal? And Anasui is the one who answers after Jolene hesitates and says, hey, we don't know when Jotaro's going to get here. He might be too late. And anyway, Poochie's really fucked up. Weather took a huge chunk out of many of his body parts.
Yeah.
Now is the time to strike.
While this is happening, the background is starting to scroll slower and slower until everyone notices, like, hey, Emporio, put your foot on the gas. We need to go. And Emporio's like starting to floor it, and the car is not moving much, and it's just getting slower and slower.
At some point, Hermes is worried about what it looks like to have this child drive.
Yes.
Why did you let him drive? Why did you? I guess it's been 10 hours. They've been taking turns, and Emporio got the home stretch.
Right, yes, the 10-hour drive to Cape Canaveral. Man, Florida is huge. And then they start seeing other cars in the highway, seemingly going in reverse, going back away from them.
And then there's a bird. There's a bird that is falling away back from them, and a tree.
Yeah. There's just like a big dust cloud coming towards them, and then a whole bunch of cars and just loose people are just flying towards them and past them.
You mean falling bodies? You're not making moral judgments on these people.
Loose. Yeah, they're just flying backwards past them. Everyone's like, "Oh fuck, that car! There's one of these cars is gonna hit us. We got to get out of here." Before anything can happen, yes, a car smashes straight into them. Like Hermes starts to float a bit, and the back window has been shattered, so she's about to fly straight out of the back of the car.
Well, the reason she's so close is because when the big old fucking tour bus starts flying at them, Hermes dives over Jolene's body to protect her.
Yes.
So yeah, the ghost computer just falls out the rear window.
And this is when the way everything is framed and shot is making it look like the road they are on is suddenly a vertical cliff that their car is sliding down on.
There's a 90-degree rotation of perspective from here on out.
Yep.
As Emporio falls out of his chair. And so Hermes grabs him and hucks him, just tosses him to Jolene.
Yes.
While Anasui jumps out to grab them both and, of course, do the diver down thing and embed his stand into the pavement to hold the three of them.
Yeah.
While Hermes throws herself to join them in safety, but she is intercepted by a chimney striking her in the face.
Yes. And she just falls down, and Jolene tries to rescue her with thread, but she's falling so quickly that her thread cannot catch her. And like Jolene is unwinding herself so much that like her arm is all the way like up to the shoulder at this point, just thread.
Her whole left flank is disappeared into the thinnest, longest like stretch of string that she's ever done in her life to save Hermes. Aww.
But she cannot reach her, and Anasui is telling her like, "Hey, Hermes is tough. She's fine. We got to keep going." And
she's got cash in her boobs. She'll be fine. She'll just get a cab. She'll come meet us.
Yeah.
So Diver Down carries our merry trio that remains over to the guardrail on the side of the road. And Jolene wonders, is this the heaven Poochie was talking about? And Emporio says, no. No. No one would think this is heaven.
And so, like, Diver Down has taken them all the way over to, like, the railing on the side of the road, which then everyone can grab onto and climb up. And, like, Jolene decides, like, okay, even though this is super fucked up what's happening right now, we still got to go forward and kill Poochie, like, right fucking now. We're so close.
She makes that decision after Anasui again reiterates his point from the back seat about how, like, we've got to go on. We have to finish the fight. This is what we came here to do. There's no waiting around. And she replies, quote, "Of course, I've already made up my mind." And that's why he loves her.
Yeah, another shot of him looking right at her going like, wow, that was hot what she just did.
Quote, "It's those eyes, that expression when you look into the distance. My heart is set ablaze."
Yes.
I really enjoy this little subplot of, like, I mean, I say it every week, just how incredibly determined Jolene is, but to give her a moment of like time in between fights and to peek inside her head that that it is a commitment that she makes. You know, she is continually making an active decision, and she has moments of vulnerability, even if she doesn't show them outwardly. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Because I feel like there are plenty of other anime protagonists that are also like very determined. But the difference is I feel like a lot of the time it just feels like they're very stupid and they just throw themselves headlong into everything because they don't know what else to do. So with Jolene, they don't do that with her. It's great.
So Emporio's riding piggyback.
Oh, yeah, he's clinging onto Jolene like he's a baby possum or something.
And Anasui is still thinking to himself about how, you know, he's going to be with Jolene for as long as they both shall live. Quote, "I can protect you better than weather or your father ever could. I would never get fucked up by a rat. I promise."
Never.
It's not happening.
No. And so we cut over to inside one of the buildings at the Space Center, and Poochie is just like clinging onto the floor, which is now
a wall. Yes.
And he's talking once again about gravity.
Yes, about how gravity pulls the Earth together out of a cloud of dust, but he doesn't know what comes next with this power. And
there's
so outside, in like the sort of transition space between parking and actual spot, you know, there are some exterior like ticket booth buildings and some restrooms on the outside for, I guess, before you wait in line.
Yeah.
And two ladies fell out of those restrooms and are clinging for dear life to a bike rack and screaming for help.
Yeah. And Jolene's like zipping up to another little, like one of the ticket booths or whatever that's parallel to them or like adjacent to them. And she looks at them and goes, "They're going to be fine. We got bigger things to do."
Asses hanging out. They fell out of the bathroom.
Yeah,
and Jolene's like, "It's cool, whatever."
Yeah. And so, yeah, they're standing on top of the box offices, and they're just like feet away from getting into the Space Center proper.
And the camera rotates again, and a brand new stand walks on the ground normal style, while everyone else is sidewayswards.
Almost normal style. He's on his tippy toes.
Well, I mean, normal orientation.
Yeah,
sure.
Normal orientation, yeah.
And this brand new stand, is that the green baby? No, it's the green adult.
Yes, this stand just sneaks up behind Jolene, and just like before she can notice he's there, he just smacks her. He like smacks her hand.
He's scary strong. He has this very powerful gravity power, and his punch seems to make Jolene's fingers so heavy they turn inside out. Her skinless finger meat emerges from the back of her hand.
Yeah, it's
so gross.
Yeah.
She shouts, "Something fucked up is happening to my hand."
Oh, God. It's not like her hand is punched and then it's inside out. Like, you see her fingers collapse in on themselves and then come out the other way. And it's just like, oh. Having that happen to your hand and just saying, "Something fucked up is happening to my hand," that's taking that really well.
Yes, it is.
You're dealing with that shit really well, if that's all you say.
So once again, we have a happy little subtitle giving us the exact time and date. It is still March 21st. It is now 11:23 a.m. This entire episode took 48 minutes. Before we go on to the next episode, you want to talk about the stand's look? It's not going to get named for a while, except for in the title of the next episode.
Yes.
So this is Sea Moon.
Yeah, and like you said, like not green baby, but green adult, because it's kind of got the gray skin of Pale Snake, but is covered in kind of like green armor of sorts.
But beneath the armor, you can still see some of White Snake's like DNA code pattern going on.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got like green, like kind of pauldrons and like crisscross straps going across its chest.
And a big wide belt.
Yeah.
And all of this, all of his green armor has arrows pointing in many different directions coming off of it because he's all about reorienting gravity. Which way is up? Any way he says, I guess.
And his head is reminiscent of the Green Baby. It's got the very large, like almost flowery leaf-like eyelashes, but with just big circular red eyes. It has no lips. It's just got a big toothy grimace that it cannot close.
It's got that chatter teeth. I love that. I love that for an evil stand. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like this guy's face a lot.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The corners of its mouth kind of extend outwards towards its cheeks in like big, thick black lines, give it kind of like a weird, like it extends out almost like a Joker's smile, but then connects to like zigzag black chunks on its cheeks. And it's got a little like golden ornamentation on its forehead that almost kind of looks like the Survivor stand a tiny bit. It has nothing to do with that stand, but just kind of similar.
Mm-hmm. It's a series of rings above one eye, but then reaches diagonally across the forehead to just barely cross centerline on the other side.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sea Moon is named for a Wings song that is fine. Especially if you just skip 15 seconds into the real beginning and not the weird studio outtake that is the song's actual beginning, which sucks. It sucks. Don't just noodle around. Cut it. Start the song at the start. What's wrong with you?
Come on.
Paul?
But yeah, that's basically Sea Moon. I guess also it's muscular, but it's like it's got a very large, wide like chest, and then it's got abs. But when you get down to its stomach, it's very like skinny and narrow.
Yes,
like a very triangular upper body.
So yeah, that brings us to episode 34, Sea Moon 1. We have a deep back recap. It starts with the monster eggs from episode 24.
Yes.
Little bits of every time Poochie reflects on the change happening within him. But more relevantly, losing Hermes in traffic, and then, of course, the appearance of Sea Moon standing before Jolene.
Yeah.
And the recap goes straight into the OP. And now, back in the present, we get to watch Jolene's fingers turn inside out again. Great, love it. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
And it's not like replaying the same footage. It's a new angle of the same horrible thing happening. It's just like, and then Anasui goes, Jolene, are you okay?
This fight, at least this segment of the fight, is one of my favorite things. It's a stand trying to fight Jolene Cujo, and she fights it herself with her own body.
Yes! Yeah, she does.
This is like at least 2/3 of the blows being thrown are her own like fists and feet, while Stone Free is just used for like string trickery.
Yeah. So there's a lot of blows being exchanged between Sea Moon and Jolene, where Sea Moon's just trying to land another hit to like turn her inside out, essentially. They're standing on top of one of these ticket booths, just a cube sticking out of what is the ground/wall now. Because Sea Moon can seemingly just walk on any surface, it feels like. It does a ton of dodges where it's not just, moving to the side. It's just running around and doing backflips all around every single surface of this cube they're standing on, this ticket booth.
Yes. So neither of them actually manages to hit each other, even when Sea Moon is doing crazy flip tricks. Like, just looping around. It's good. Although it does barely land, grazing blows to both Emporio's shoe and Jolene's bangs.
Yes, you get like a very close-up shot of a couple of her hairs turning inside out and then like exploding off of her head.
And Emporio's shoe turns inside out and tears itself apart and falls south into the abyss.
Yep. And
Jolene keeps just wiggling her meat fingers.
Oh, it's bad.
I don't like it.
It's bad.
So they figure after the shoe falls, so to speak, that this thing has the ability to redirect gravity, which means it inverts the natural order of things. So therefore, anything it punches is likewise inverted.
Yeah.
Obviously. So this is when Jolene picks up Emporio and just tosses him to Anasui for safety.
Yep.
You're supposed to throw the baseball, not the baseball boy. What is this? Everyone's just throwing the child.
Yeah, she pitches Emporio, and that's when the side of the ticket booth she's standing on begins to warp as it inverts, and Seamoon bursts out from within the ticket booth.
And she dodges the punch combo, and she kicks it in the jaw.
Yeah, she just kicks Seamoon in the jaw, but then her leg, as he's getting kicked in the jaw, both fists just like punch both sides of her leg.
But this is all a part of Jolene Cujo's plan because she has the biggest brain of anyone.
Oh my
ever.
God, galaxy brain! Because you start to see her leg twist and snap and start to crunch and compress as it's about to turn inside out.
See, her plan is to get punched an even number of times in the same spot.
Yeah, so anything that's inverted inverts again back to its normal state. And so her disgusting meat fingers, which she like deliberately got punched, reorient themselves and come back out, and now she's got a normal hand again, just with lots of scarring and blood everywhere, which she's patching up with threads.
Oh, I am not learning topology just to talk about JoJo's. I will not interpret the journey of Jolene Cujo through the work of Leonard Euler. I refuse. I will not do this. So Jolene, yes, like even in this incredible foresight that she has, does not protect herself from all damage. Merely, so she sutures her minor wounds and squares up again.
Yep.
While Anasui is just like, hey, small child, climb the sheer cliff face of this like tile paved welcoming courtyard.
Yeah.
I'm not here for you. I'm here to make sure my darling Jolene has backup.
Fuck you, child. And so there's another big series of just blows being exchanged between Jolene and Seamoon. Again, a lot of these blows being delivered by Jolene herself, and she's dodging all of these like mega fast stand punches on her own.
Faster than the speed of sound, she is dodging these punches.
She's gotten really fucking good over time. But like she dodges one punch and like falls off the side of the ticket booth where it seems like she's just going to fall to her death, but no, she grabs onto a railing and uses it to swing and kick open a door, and then swing like that kick follows through so that she kicks through the window, the inside to get Seamoon that way.
But Seamoon is just like punch the booth again to continue twisting and breaking the beams of which it is constructed. So all those pieces fall away, except for one remaining support beam that has twisted itself into a loop, locking Jolene in place. She's restrained by a building.
Yes.
But this is something that gives Jolene information she needs. This thing is fighting so precisely and reacting so quickly. Poochie must be nearby watching and actively piloting it. This is no automatic stand situation.
Yeah. She also notices that Seamoon is no longer trying to punch her arms or legs or anything. It's just going for like vital points, just body blows. It wants to invert her chest or her head.
So this is when Diver Drive pops up all of a sudden to try to sucker punch Seamoon. Mm-hmm. So Seamoon just like looks at some of these pavement tiles that make up the wall to change their gravity, so they fly what was up and is now left straight into Diver Down's face.
Yeah.
And so Anasui is knocked down and starts falling sideways.
Jolene rescues him. She still constrained by around her legs by this twisted support beam. She launches a very long thread to first grab Anasui as he's falling, and then the thread continues and then wraps itself around Seamoon's neck, choking him.
Yes.
With the weight of Anasui.
So Seamoon's neck is the anchor, and Anasui is just choking him out. Neither of her friends think this is a good idea. Both Anasui and Emporio think this was very foolish. Mm-hmm. Emporio warns, like, okay, if it grabs the string, it's going to turn the string inside out. It's going to break. Anasui's going to die. And Anasui says, just run. I was doing distraction stuff so you could fucking run and get Poochie. Just do that, please.
Yeah.
And Jolene shouts down to him, "For the record, I'm not trying to choke it. I'm trying to get closer so I can pummel it into the pavement."
Yeah.
You know, to the right over here.
Yeah.
So Emporio is right. It does begin to grab the rope at its neck, which does begin to invert, splitting itself open. And the fray travels inch by inch down toward Anasui. Oh no, oh no. And this is when we get a Sea Moon title card. The first time the name is actually used.
Yeah. So meanwhile, a little bit down the highway that leads to the Space Center, we've got like the National Guard out here, or the Coast Guard. And they've got tanks and stuff because I hear something fucked up is happening at the Kennedy Space Center. And there's one soldier just radioing in, going like, "Hey, command, we can't drive towards the Kennedy Center, the Kennedy Space Center, because our tanks keep flipping over." They just keep turning upside down and crashing.
And we get a look at the absolute carnage of what happens when all of everything that's fallen down this way gets like beyond the stand's range and starts falling down again and skidding across the road, wrecked bodies, wrecked cars. It's nasty.
Streaks of blood all over the pavement, yeah.
Ugh. This National Guardsman asks for a scholar to help. we need the help of a, quote, scholar?
Yeah.
You're talking like RPG classes, dude. What do you mean a scholar?
Yeah.
So yeah, there are some Coast Guard helicopters going up, and wouldn't you know, one of them is the narrator's
Hell
voice.
yeah. More and more characters become him over time. I love it.
I think it's infectious.
Yeah, he's a virus.
So the Coast Guard is flying to get, eyes in the sky on the situation, and once they cross the line, their instruments go all screwy. They can't tell up from down, and they just crash into the ground and explode.
Yeah. And so we cut back to everything going on in the fight between Jolene and Sea Moon.
Jolene just barely pulls her ankle out of that loop of steel and rushes over to just knock this stand out once and for all. But at the same time, Sea Moon uses its ability to continue to warp the surviving scraps of ticket booth it's on to lift itself up and out of the way of Jolene's strikes.
Yeah. And meanwhile, her thread is still inverting and getting closer and closer to Anasui. Sea Moon is like inverting more tiles on the ground, so they fly at Jolene, so she's having to take time to just punch those out of the way. And Emporio's just shouting like, "Jolene, you got to cut your thread. It's going to get to you, and you're going to turn inside out. Oh, fuck." And then Anasui goes, "No, fuck that." And he uses Diver's Drive to no-clip his stand through the thread so that the inversion carries on through his stand and himself instead of the thread. He deflects it.
Which means that Jolene is, of course, free to totally whip ass. Yes.
Yep.
She has the upper hand here. She is winding up. A great finishing blow right to the head comes through and then glances off. There's an invisible shield here that is never exactly explained.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's gravity.
Yes, it's supposed to be gravity.
It's supposed to be gravity. No one says the word gravity. Well, not in this context. They say it a lot of times.
Yeah.
So Poochie is walking down the street wall toward her, talking about fate in the gospel.
Yes. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, was fated to be crucified on the cross and all this shit. In order for human beings to obtain happiness, they first have to conquer their destiny.
And what has he got to conquer? He's got to conquer this damned Joestar bloodline. All you meddling kids got to get out of me and Dio's way.
Yeah.
And so he walked down here to personally intervene in the fight to save Sea Moon because it's not ready yet. No fair, Mom said.
Yeah. So Jolene goes to just punch Poochie in the head, but he also has the same like gravity field, which just deflects blows that get near him. And this is when Jolene just starts to float up off the ground.
Because Poochie is the gravitational center. He determines which way is up. And for now, up is up for Jolene, and there she goes.
Yep, just up into the sky.
So Sea Moon finally tears itself out of the frayed rope from its neck, gets a little bit of like cornerman coaching from Poochie, and then punches Jolene square in the ribs.
Yeah, and you just see her chest start to cave in. And
she's fucking imploding as Poochie and Sea Moon just like walk back into the visitor center.
Yeah, geysers of blood. She starts vomiting up geysers of blood from her mouth, and her arm.
Her heart is turning inside out, as they say.
Yeah. Like the thread that was wrapped around Anasui is like dissolving and just eroding away. And this is when we see Jolene just kind of explode a little bit, and you can just see meat and guts that was her insides now just hanging out of her back, and like the explosion of this inversion just sends her rocketing off into the distance.
Her two companions here are screaming her name as she just floats away into the abyss. While Poochie is, talking as he does all the time, constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Can't make this boy stop talking. This time about just like keeping his eye on the real prize and honoring all of those who have made great sacrifices in order to bring him to the threshold of heaven.
Yes. Weather Report, Jolene, everyone else who has died. They're just all sacrifices towards his I think he says righteous objective.
So this is when there's a little phone noise, little phone boop, because Emporio has gotten a text message from Jotaro.
Yes.
And it's from Jotaro because when he opens his phone, the little hand emblem from Jotaro's hat is there.
Yes.
And this is oh my god, it's a letter.
Yeah.
Imagine Jotaro Kujo typing this out on a 9-key cell phone.
God.
He's got to hit the buttons over and over again.
He does it with Star Platinum.
Oh,
the precision.
Well, yeah, it's very precise. Very, very
precision
precise.
And speed.
It just keeps going. Somebody in the Speedwagon Foundation has the incredible standability to get past character limits in SMS messages. So the long and short of it is, and boy is it long, is that Jotaro knows, he feels in his heart and in his birthmark that Jolene managed to figure out a way to stay alive.
Yeah.
But she needs to be protected until he can arrive to like save the day.
Yep.
He signs his text message, Jesus Christ, you ancient man.
He would, though. He would. If Emporio handed Jotaro his ghost computer, he would not know what the fuck to do.
I wouldn't either. It's a ghost computer. It came from his pants. So now Emporio, with this information, he's calling the plays. He tells Anasui to just like go find wherever Jolene's gotten to, because Poochie is also going to sense that she's alive and will want to, let's say, change that fact.
Yeah. And this is when we cut to Poochie just like sprinting through hallways going like, oh fuck, I could tell she's still alive, and he's freaking the hell out because he has no idea how anyone could survive having their insides made outside.
While Poochie is just like doing the 100-meter breaststroke through the pavement to get to him.
Yeah.
And so it is the 21st of March, 11:44 a.m. at the end of the episode, which was basically in real time.
Yeah.
That's a 21-minute difference. Close enough.
Mm-hmm. And so Anasui just lunges ahead. He is using diver drive to essentially do like breaststrokes through the concrete so he can like swim up the ground super fast.
And that brings us to, episode 35, Sea Moon 2, which has a full 3-minute recap.
It's a long recap, yeah.
We took about 40 minutes to do it, so I'm feeling the heat, honestly. I don't know. Hopefully ours is more fun.
Yeah.
But that goes into the OP, of course. And now Poochie continues running inside the visitor center, very frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
And the visitor center isn't just a big space museum. It is a complex of buildings. So he runs through one building into another courtyard. And behind him, you see the space shuttle Atlantis, which has left its display building and is lying on the roof of the IMAX theater.
Yeah.
Now, in the manga, this is probably meant to be a shuttle that fell there from, like, launch prep. Mm-hmm. But, of course, the last shuttle launch was 9 months before these events. However, history to the rescue. Mm-hmm. The Space Shuttle Atlantis was put in a display building as part of the visitor center in the year 2010. This is the power of fate. Everything is aligned.
Shit. Hell yeah.
Yes.
It all works out.
So he's hyping himself up again and says, quote, Dio and I will succeed. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, I think, the third time in this fight that he's talked like Dio is present with him. Yeah. Like, he is a man of faith, and again, that faith is Dioism.
Yes. And he is, the thing that's really psyching him out is just the never-dying presence of the Joestar bloodline. He's getting freaked out because it's the thing that stopped Dio, and it's the thing he's terrified is going to stop him too. So yeah, he comes out of one building, and you just see like a bunch of dead bodies just floating around, caught on railings, snagged on different objects.
This is a building with an overhang that is held up by these sort of purple truss structures. Yeah. And you might think, oh, that's an interesting detail. But then you actually look at what the IMAX theater building looks like. Mm-hmm. At Kennedy Space Center Visitor Center, and they just photo-referenced it. This is very accurate.
Nice. That's great. I was wondering how accurate this was.
From here on, the layout is very like they looked at the site as it is.
That's great.
The previous bits, that is not how the entrance courtyard looks at all.
Yeah.
The entrance courtyard as it is now and as it was in 2012 is not how it was in, like, I think we're still in 2002 or maybe 2003 when it was written. Mm-hmm. The whole visitor center was in the midst of a big transformation, multi-stage renovation. So I think Araki just went with, well, here's the sort of things that would be there, and here's what would make the action really clear to follow.
Yeah, totally.
But now that we're like in it, it's it to a surprising degree.
And so, like, in the scaffolding above Poochie, in the overhang here, just outside the building, there is one guy who's all messed up but still slightly alive, and he just is like groaning in pain, going like, "Hey, priest, can you call 911? I think my hip bone is supremely fucked." And Poochie doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even respond. He just keeps going and walking towards where he believes Jolene has ended up, which is the Universal G Cafe.
Yeah, you might call it
down.
That. Or you might also call it the Orbit Cafe.
Ooh, look at that.
Look at that.
Yes.
That's the exact same awning design.
Hell yeah, it is. You. That's rad.
And that building is adjacent to the IMAX theater building.
Oh, man, that's great. Okay, yeah, the facade here is very similar. Yup. It's just missing... It's got the little cutout in the corner, but it doesn't have the weird spiral cone in the cutout.
This is one of the bigger, for all I know, the biggest, like, cafe, like, restaurant available to guests at the visitor center. You can get yourself a Cuban sandwich with fries for $8.79. That's probably what I'd order, looking at this menu myself.
All right.
So yes, Poochie believes she is inside this restaurant, not just because of his JoJo dar, but because like one of her pants bangles has been torn off and is hanging on a shard of glass in a broken window here.
Yeah.
But he's not so focused that he's unaware of what's around him. Like, for instance, Anasui perched like a fucking gargoyle right behind him.
Yes, on one of the little, like, pillars. And Poochie, looking at Anasui, just says, "Go away. I don't view you as, like, a test to ascension, so I don't give a fuck. Go away." And so Anasui, like a weirdo, starts crawling down the pillar like an animal.
And so Simu just like punches him right in the fucking face, turns his brain inside out. But wait a minute. That's not his face. That's not his face. Diver Down did something akin to the chocolate trick.
Yes.
To turn some dead tourist corpse into the spitting image of Anasui.
Clothing and all. Incredible. And so this fake Anasui's head starts to bulge and like implode, and the real man's head appears, like ripping through the fake Anasui face, and then his head explodes and teeth missiles shoot out of his head, which Simun has to like Mach speed punch out of the air before it stabs Pucci in the face with teeth.
Which is just the cover the real Anasui needed to get even closer, lurking in the low shadows on the other side.
Yeah.
And so Diver Down like tries to punch Anasui in the face to turn his brain inside out through a different method.
Or Pucci's face, yeah.
Pucci's face, yes. But then Pucci dodges by using his own stand to also turn his head inside out.
Yes, and it's animated great. It's rad. Like
just for those like extra 3 centimeters.
Yes, the whole right side of his head just collapses in on itself. It's rad looking.
Like, you're each trying to do the same thing. You're each trying to turn this one man's brain inside out. Just by missing that punch, that total whiff gives Pucci the chance he needs to just switch gravity up and essentially throw Anasui up into a flagpole far, far away.
Yeah. And like we've got in slow motion as Anasui is about to be punched by Simun, a hand reaches out from behind Pucci and just touches him on the face.
Very gently, very, very, not tenderly, but certainly softly.
Yeah. And this hand has green nail polish, and Pucci just slowly turns around like it's a fucking horror movie, just seeing like, the alien with his little growth extra tongue mouth coming out. And he just sees barely, like, because his eyes are focused on the hand touching his face and just like blurry in the background. You can just barely see Jolene's like shoulder tattoo. And Pucci just leaps backward in fear and like screams.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
She will never stop.
Yeah.
But he sees a blood trail leading into the cafe where he expects to find her, and he's like, okay, all right. He straighten out my coat. Let's go. You want to go? Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
And he goes inside and he sees that all of the furniture is on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had to try to find some interior shots of the Orbit Cafe whose facade was reused. The ceilings in the JoJo's version at least twice as tall as the real thing.
It's like 30 feet tall ceilings in here. It's massive.
And so yeah, all these tables and chairs, and I think there's a fucking Coke machine up there, are huddled in a certain zone that the blood trail leads to, and he thinks, okay, maybe she's very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
As he starts to monologue to Jolene, again, about how he's gonna kill her, and that's all he needs to do because seeing her dead is going to demoralize everyone so much that they will be easy pickings.
And Pucci says here, especially Jotaro, seeing his daughter dead. So I think that'll make Jotaro more pissed off, honestly.
Yeah. You do not know how this man operates. You don't know.
This dude punched a man 3 billion times and punched him straight through a ancient clock tower simply just because he was trolling him a little bit too much. Like, killing his daughter would probably just make him punch the whole planet in half. Like,
he watched his grandpa die, and then his grandpa's ghost said, hey, keep a clear head, don't get mad. You know what he did? He got super fucking mad.
And then he killed Dio in the process. So, maybe don't do that. That's what killed Dio.
and this is cross-cut with some shots of Emporio actually succeeding at fucking sheer cliff face climbing.
There's just a bunch of little handholds created from various tiles falling out of the ground. Very, very shallow handholds, but he's doing it.
he's only got one shoe.
Yeah.
He's doing it.
This kid's a trooper.
He's a real hero. Emporio is the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Poochie's whole thing. Yeah. Time to kill Jolene, but he's being extremely cautious about it. He's trying to find any way to kill Jolene while staying far away from where he thinks she is. And he finds, like, piled up in a bunch of debris, like a canister of ethyl alcohol. So he just unscrews it.
I think it's meant to be, like, along with a first aid kit or something.
Yeah. And so with gravity shifted the way it is currently, he just unscrews the cap, and all of the alcohol here just starts pouring into this big pile of debris where he believes Jolene is. And he leaps up to a different wall, shifting gravity again, and he just pulls out a lighter and just lights the whole trail of alcohol, setting everything in that debris pile on fire. And he's just like, okay, you can't stay in there, fucking show yourself.
And that is when he gets grabbed from inside the air vent behind him.
Yes, she just gingerly grabs him up by the ankle, and he, again, is terrified in like a horror movie style way.
So he wrenches himself away, gets away, and as soon as he does, she's choking him from a different angle entirely.
Yes!
But he's got a quick reaction. He is basically like a compass needle for gravity, except cause and effect is reversed. Like, however he orients his body, that is what points gravity.
Yep.
So he flips his body around to drop the flaming pile of furniture on Jolene, choking him from quote-unquote below.
Yeah.
I guess it is below again now that gravity's pointing that way, you know? Mm-hmm. This is why we have starboard and port, because left and right are relative, and it's even worse in 3 dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
So Sea Moon pops out and does a double punch on the 2 arms that are choking Poochie as well, just for good measure, inverting them. But this is Jolene's greatest maneuver yet.
Yes, it's rad.
Because wherever she is punched by Sea Moon, instantly, fucking frame perfect strat explodes into a figure 8 shaped loop of strings, and I immediately called it, but it gets an in-depth explanation later. She is turning her body parts into Mobius strips so that inversion is meaningless.
Yes, yeah. And so the way it's visualized, like animated, is really cool because, yeah, it's, you know, just it's a Mobius strip. It's a figure 8 style thing twisted on itself. But the string is like traveling along this infinite path at a really fast rate. So it just looks like she's got a galaxy inside of her almost, just like stars whipping by mega fast. It's super cool looking.
She actually is doing topology. She did what I would refuse to do. Jolene Cujo is so determined.
Yeah. And Poochie sees this and goes, what the fuck? Like, sees that Jolene is still alive and intact, though very, you know, covered in blood just everywhere.
Yeah, she's in the worst shape of her life, and that is saying something.
Yeah. And so, you know, Stone Free launches herself at Sea Moon. Sea Moon's able to block the punch and, like, punch her, stand in the neck. But, like, the instant Jolene's neck should be inverting, just another Mobius strip appears there, made out of string, and none of his punches work anymore.
So, in the moment where Poochie figures out what this shape is and why it's having this effect, we hit a Stone Ocean title card. Yes. Who else at this point? And so the narrator, of course, describes the properties of the Mobius strip.
Yep.
So we're all caught up. And now Poochie says, quote, "The first person to have ever eaten a mushroom has my respect." Oh my god, dude, what are you talking about ever?
Yeah.
How high are you at all times?
This dude never leaves a galaxy brain state. Like, he is always just, yeah. And so as he does this long monologue about the first man to ever eat a mushroom, he's slowly, like, circling around Jolene and, like, walking all the way to, like, the corner of the ceiling and then just walking down a wall. And as he's doing this, he's constantly shifting gravity.
And like, okay, the point of the mushroom thing is like respect for the innovators and the risk takers and people who are gonna just like jump into the unknown without a safety net, you know, because we only know which mushrooms are good by who lived and which mushrooms are poisonous by who died.
Yeah. And so he's, just walking around looking for the ideal angle to strike her from. He goes in for one more like punch rush, and he lands a bunch of blows all across her head, but she just keeps Mobius stripping her own brain, and so it's fine.
Yeah. Like his plan is to just go straight for the brain, because there's no way she could maintain both a heart Mobius strip and a brain Mobius strip simultaneously to save herself. So like she's focusing all of her defense on just keeping that brain meat safe. While Sea Moon does land a couple smaller blows elsewhere, but she keeps that cranium just barely out of reach. And so Poochie is keeping it up. He's walking around the room. He's doing... Okay, when Dave is like running on the hamster wheel in the beginning of 2001?
Yeah.
He's doing that with a restaurant, basically.
Yep.
Which is like, throwing for like a 3-kilometer radius gravity in loops and loops. Poor Emporio, honestly. And he's doing that to get just the right debris in just the right place for the final attack. And that debris and that place is the corpse of a security guard to fly by for him to snatch the gun. And now he can just shoot her.
Yeah.
Because historically, she only has like an 80% block rate with bullets. So
yeah. So he grabbed. It's really funny how he delivers this revelation too. It's like he's just like, yes, the moment I've been waiting for is here. The corpse of a security guard. Pause. And his gun. Eureka! A gun. And so then he just blasts off 4 shots in a row, rapid fire. And they're about to strike Jolene, and this is when everything freezes in place.
By the way, everybody has gotten here. Emporio and Anasui have caught up. They're grabbing one another and screaming Jolene's name as the bullets fly. But yes, time stop sound effect and everything.
Yep.
The cavalry has arrived.
Yep. Shotaro's arms just come into frame and just gently like pull Jolene out of the trajectory of these bullets. Time resumes, and Poochie just goes, "What?" as he sees like a big fucking military-ass style like harpoon lodged into the side of the little counter that Jolene was leaning up against. And just as his face starts to turn, Star Platinum's fist is already an inch away from him, and he just gets fucking rocked by a punch rush.
He learns just how many ways a jaw can fracture at once.
Yeah.
And when I say everybody's caught up, everybody's caught up. Hermes is there too.
Yes.
Bragging about how the Speedwagon Foundation can fire their Gripple Bip harpoon from 3 kilometers away.
Yeah.
The whales do not stand a chance.
No. So
how the two of them got there together so quickly? That is, of course, a dupe spear. She duplicated the spear. It got fired here. She unstickered it, and she and Jotaro rode it the whole way in through the gravity zone to the rescue.
Hell yeah.
And now, Jotaro Kujo has been there for his daughter twice in a single year.
Yay.
Don't strain yourself, buddy. I know it's hard.
And so Poochie's all fucked up now. He's been punched through like the metal framing of a window in this restaurant. He's been punched back outside. His body's like wrapped around this fucked up metal frame now. Just blood all over him. And he's surrounded by like everybody now.
Emporio just like lays all that out, tells Poochie to accept the facts. He is surrounded. He is beaten. He has no allies left. He will not see that new moon 36 hours and change away.
Mm-hmm.
But fate is Poochie's ally. It actually owns that I got thrown through this window and the aluminum frame is twisted around my fucked up body.
Yes.
It's victory wine. See, the way the whole new moon thing works is it's not about like the mystic dark light or whatever. Mm-hmm. It is again a matter of gravity. the moon's gravity affects the Earth, and that changes through the phases. And the effect that the new moon has on the surface of the Earth of Cape Canaveral in 36 hours is matched by the almost new moon somewhere in the atmosphere above Cape Canaveral right now.
Yes.
Not true.
So if I use my stand's ability to affect the gravity of this window frame that I'm inside, I can use it to fly.
Yes, he just starts floating while wrapped in this fucking frame. And so what Poochie's basically doing is just thinking, this exact gravitational force is what will trigger my stand evolution. So I just need to essentially go to the gravity dial and just turn it left and right and look at the audiences until they nod their head enough. So if I just float around, eventually I'm going to just go ding, ding, ding and just slot right into the exact precise place I need to be.
And that is when Jotaro tells Hermes to just take the gun and shoot him.
Yes.
So she does. 4 shots came to Jolene, 4 shots go toward Poochie's face. And Jotaro once again stops time right as Sea Moon is moving in place to punch the bullets away. And he's like, yeah, I knew you were going to do that. So you're going to block all those bullets coming at you from that angle. You won't see this harpoon I'm throwing at you coming from the other side.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just going to telefrag Poochie when time starts again. That's the plan.
Oh, and right before Jotaro stops time, he's holding Jolene's hand and just tells her, "You've grown so much." And there's just like a very brief, like tender moment between the two. Before, Hermes fires the gun and he grabs his harpoon and just gets ready to like shot put a harpoon through this priest's skull.
And that's how you take care of the problems in the church, you know?
Yep.
If the Pope would just allow us to put harpoons through the skulls, not every priest, just the ones that are trying to exterminate humanity or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever heaven means if you ask Dio. I don't know. I'm about to find out, I guess.
And so, Jotaro hurls this harpoon, which of course time has stopped. So very quickly after he throws the harpoon, it also freezes in place. And then Jotaro's just like, okay, there's 2 seconds left. Once these 2 seconds are up, this harpoon is going to fly straight through your fucking brain. And Rezi says that.
He's been practicing.
Yeah.
He did not have this much time in Diamond is Unbreakable. Like, he's been going to work in the last 10 years.
Well, he never really trained up on the time-stopping stuff after Stardust Crusaders, and he could do it for like a second or whatever, and Diamond is Unbreakable, and that really sucked for him when he was getting melted by a rat. He's probably like, you know what? I probably have to keep this muscle trained up. Because at any point, a rodent could melt my face.
A 2-second time stop head start is pretty good when you're running away from the ghost of Polnareff living inside a turtle. A 5-second head start, though.
Yeah. Right as Jotaro says, hey, there's 2 seconds left, you're about to die, he sees that Poochie's eyes actually move and look straight at him and the harpoon, which freaks Jotaro out.
And, like, the total inversion, right, of the final fight of Stardust Crusaders. That, Jotaro is playing a Dio trick, and he's getting freaked out by a Jotaro trick.
Yes.
It's, But that glance within stop time was not a trick. It was real. It was at least real enough for Poochie to wrench his head just enough in the final millisecond before impact that it merely tears half his face off, but does not kill him.
Yes.
Poochie got himself the biggest gauge I've ever seen in someone's ear.
Oh, man. But the force of this harpoon scraping across the side of his face and just fucking him up sends him careening in a different direction into the air, which causes him to fly and land up against the side of the space shuttle, which is also lifting up into the air due to gravity now.
So, yeah, he is using the space shuttle as the frame which allows him to fly in style, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
In order to seek the magic airborne gravity spot, as foretold in prophecy. And this bit is done with like all of the weight and portent and like these shining rays of light from the sun, pierced and eclipsed by the black shape of the underside of the space shuttle. It's good. It's really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
As light beams shoot from the mouth of Father Pucci, and then the eyes, and then his entire body is engorged in radiance.
The radiant light shooting out of him is so bright that everything else is like darkening. Like he is the main light source in this area now. Like he's brighter than the sun.
Planet Earth. Yes.
Yeah, he's brighter than the damn sun. And that is the end of the episode. It's very much like cars powering up.
Except it looks cooler.
It looks cooler, yeah.
So that is it. That is the penultimate set of 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
All that is left is everything.
Yup.
Do I see St. Peter? Because we have found the gates of heaven. They're here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. What I really, really enjoy about this set, and I guess Sea Moon in particular, is that the way they talk about gravity is actually the clearest and most direct explanation for how JoJo's talks about fate in the entire nearly 200 episodes.
Yes.
It is an inescapable aspect of the structure of the universe that binds, that shapes, that directs everything. And to control it is the greatest power of all, but it is still always in control. You are merely have the power to see what is coming and try to make your life fit it.
Yeah.
That's how gravity works. That's fate. That's JoJo's. That's Sea Moon. That's what I like.
Yep. Also, just like the Sea Moon fight is good. I like the Sea Moon fight a lot. I love the climax, like how, like having a kind of long form mystery, you know, for like an episode and a half of how the fuck does Jolene survive her body turning inside out, and the answer being a fucking Mobius strip body. That's a cool ass reveal.
The way that the fight moves from place to place, style of fight to style of fight, right? We've got a great big actual fisticuffs fight, and then your suspense and puzzle just trying to flush one another out bit, and then everybody teaming up against what reveals itself to be an unstoppable power. Those are 3 very good, 3 different styles of JoJo fight that are all executed really well.
Yeah.
The way it puts Jolene over as, like, the scariest thing is a wounded animal, right? Like, she's on the brink of death, but she is still a fucking slasher villain.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Like, I think out of everything up to part 6, I think, like, Jolene, I already really liked Jolene when I read part 6, but the anime makes me like her even more just because, like, out of every single JoJo, she is just the coolest one. She does cool shit all the time, and the way she's just framed, and even the villains straight up just telling other villains, like, hey, this chick doesn't stop. Like, you're fucked. I knew from the get-go that you were fucked, and you're simply just wasting her time so that I can do what I want to do, because I know if you don't waste her time and keep her occupied, I'm also fucked.
Like, and I'm going to repeat myself, what really makes her work as a person, beyond just being the force of nature that is Jolene Cujo, is the little moment of vulnerability, is like the chance that she could decide, like, I've done enough. I've done my part. Let the experts handle this. I've done so much.
Yeah.
But you know she can't. You know that as soon as anybody looks to her for what to do, she's going to do the damn thing.
Yeah. Like, out of all the JoJos, she's the one that feels like there is a very noticeable progression in how battle-hardened she is. Like, all the other JoJos do cool shit from the start, and so does she, but they all feel like, okay, even Josuke feels like, okay, he's been in a stand fight before, maybe. And Jolene feels like she's just learning on the fly, and then by the point you get to and then come out of, like, the Battle Royale segment, It's just like she's a fucking expert at this shit now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like the Jolene fighting now is different from the Jolene fighting earlier on in the series, and it's a cool progression to see happen.
To go back to something I said, I think in that episode, or maybe the week after, that the thing about Jolene is she just gets more Jolene. Like in the first third, up until she gets the Star Platinum disc, I could easily see her being like, you know what? Dad's awake. This is his fight. He got Dio. He can get this guy. I'm hitting the hot tag. He is the legal partner in this fight now. I gotta go find another boy to smooch, you know?
Yeah.
But the further she goes along this path, the more it is her path. And that's great. It's a fun sort of development for an iconic character.
Yeah. Just one of the best JoJo's. Well, she's just so cool.
So, well, you know these two things about me that are relevant to the thing I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Huge sucker for space.
Yes.
Also, wife having a work trip to Central Florida in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
It is likely that this is the year I finally do go to Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, hell yeah. I want to go to Kennedy Space Center.
But now I just know I'm going to be looking around being like, that's where Poochie got punched in the face.
Yeah.
That's where Poochie almost got punched in the face.
Yeah. Yup. It's it just reminds me of like decade ago or so was the first time I ever went to Manhattan, or more than a decade ago. And I went past the place where you had the final boss fight in Metal Gear Solid 2, and the statue that Solid Snake dies on. I was just like, that's all I could think about. I was just like, okay, this is a cool landmark, but also right behind that statue, that's where Solid Snake's corpse is. That's there is a sword fight on top of that building.
It's a totally different thing to like seeing a place you're familiar with represented in media. Like say relevant to our listeners, perhaps the Watch Dogs LP.
Yeah.
In that order, it's a totally different feeling to it being the other way around.
Yeah. No, I really want to go to the Kennedy Space Center too. Space is cool.
You get a Cuban sandwich and fries for under $9. What's not to love?
That's not bad.
It's not bad for a tourist place. Yeah, that's really not bad.
Honestly, that's a pretty normal sandwich price, I think. Like, I don't know how good it's gonna be.
That's the question. I'll find out. I'll find out and I will tell you. I promise.
Okay.
My pledge.
Yes.
Hand over heart. I swear upon manga in theory and practice. I will. If I go, I will get the Cuban sandwich.
Yeah.
from Orbit Cafe. And I will look up at the ceilings and think, I expected this to be way taller in here.
Yeah.
Colors are all wrong, too.
Where's all the extra room, the monologuing space for a priest to talk about the first man to ever eat a mushroom? Come on. Also, like, it's been done several times in various JoJo parts after part 3 by this point. But I personally still get a deep satisfaction anytime a later part has Jotaro come in to do a punch and his theme for kicking ass from part 3 plays again.
Yes,
that happened this episode when he rocked Poochie's face in. And every time it happens, I'm just like, yes, I like this a lot. I love musical callbacks like this.
They get through, I think, loops of the Jotaro's theme, honestly. It plays for so long in that scene.
Yep.
This is just a fun one. This is just...
Yeah.
I mean, things don't go well for our heroes, but it's still just really fun and exciting to watch. And because I have faith in how things are going to go, things are going to get worse before they get better, I know. But they're going to get really good. And I have been enjoying enough of this that I'm expecting to have that payoff come in a really, really satisfying way that I enjoy a lot. My hopes are up. Is that a mistake? I'll find out in a week. Yeah. Check in later, folks. But right now, I'm very optimistic. Hopes are high.
Yeah. I'm excited for the final 3. I'm excited about all the things we're going to be talking about those final 3 and just the ending of Stone Ocean as a whole. I'm sad we're running out of anime again. I would say
it's the second time it's happened to us.
I know. I would say I need a Part 7 anime right now, but I actually still need to read it first, which is something I'm going to be starting like probably later today. Because I'm not over JoJo yet. I still need more of it. It's a 30-year-long thing, and somehow I'm not tired of it.
That's also something I've heard you say about me. So.
Aw. I really enjoyed playing some versus JoJo with you yesterday at the arcade.
Yes,
that kicked ass.
Yesterday, at time of recording, we met up at Galloping Ghost Arcade, the largest arcade, at least by cabinet count, because boy, is it cramped in there.
Oh yeah, and warm.
And we did play JoJo's Venture. And when the matchup was you as Jotaro and me as Iggy, I got wrecked. But then I went on, what was it, a 4 or 5 win streak when I found Shadow Dio?
Yes, the Dio in silhouette from the start of Stardust Crusaders, who is a secret character whose character portrait is off to the side of the menu, and you can't even, it's invisible. He's really fucking hard to fight against as a person who only kind of knows how to play Jotaro.
That was fun. That was really fun.
And then I finally scored a couple wins against you playing as Shadow Dio when I discovered the other secret character, which is young Joseph in old Joseph's clothes.
Yes.
Where, because he has no stand, the button that makes your stand come out is instead his clacker balls, which are really fun and strong to use. Yeah, even just the couple of matches we did, there was so much wonderful attention to detail to the characters, both in how they fight and the little references and stuff they did. Also, I played as Midler. This is the game that gave her an actual character design, and oh man, she's fun. The move where you have the car shoot out of the ground, it's like an anti-air move.
Yeah, that took me a minute. I remember that car.
You do the car, and then you do 2 medium hits to follow up with the big scissors, and they link pretty well. Yeah. Oh, that's a fun game. I got to play more of that.
It's good. It's a lot of fun. Relatedly, I had a pretty good... I think I got through the first 5 fights of one of the Darkstalkers as the bee lady, and I felt pretty okay about that.
Oh, yeah. I did not play any Darkstalkers this time. I saw them. Didn't get around to playing them that time. We played a bit too much. What was the caveman game where you were the dinosaurs collecting eggs? What was that thing called?
Trog.
The one-eyed caveman Trog. We played more than that.
Never played too much Trog.
We played more Trog than I thought I would ever play in my life.
I think we played more Trog than people have in a month on that machine.
Yeah, I kind of liked Trog. It was a fun time for the length we played it for.
But speaking again of the future rather than the past, next week we are going to come at you with the final 3 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. The final 3 episodes produced or even at this precise point in time announced of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Made in Heaven 1, Made in Heaven 2, and What a Wonderful World.
Yep.
And then the week after that, of course, our big End of Stone Ocean roundup, which will come out on the 20th of March, one day before these very events.
Oh my God.
These very events' 11th anniversary, at least.
You know what? I'm just going to say that this was on purpose. That's fate.
Everybody who was like, no, just keep going to Stone Ocean. If there's a break in the middle, don't worry about it. It's fine. You're wrong. You're demonstrably wrong.
We waited for the opportune moment, and fate came to us.
This is fate. This is fate.
This is gravity. Do you believe in gravity? I do. Oh, I love Poochie. I love his shit. I love the shit he is on.
He's constantly on it too. That's the thing.
He once he got on it, he never got off of it.
He's either totally on his shit or about to puke because his stand is molting inside him. As promised, next week, the final 3 episodes. To be continued.
See you later, folks.